Okay, guys. So now we are discussing about OOPS concept, encapsulation. Encapsulation means by generating setters and getters methods of a class, we can initialize the object values securely is known as abstraction. By generating setters and getters methods. So by generating setters and getters methods of a class, we can initialize the object values securely is known as abstraction. We can also define the definition as the wrapping up of data and functions together in a single unit is known as encapsulation. So, but interview point of view, you can tell the first definition only. So we can generate setters and getters of a class and we can initialize the object values securely is known as encapsulation. Like encapsulation. Encapsulation means we can generate setters and getters of a class and we can initialize the object values securely is known as encapsulation. The wrapping up of data and functions together into a single unit is known as encapsulation. Now let's go into the program example. So under SRC test Java, okay, I'm going to create a package day03 encapsulation. So I have created a package. So under this package, I'm going to create a customer Java class file. Customer. Click on finish. So under customer, I'm going to declare some data members. Private integer customer ID. Private string customer name, customer status. So these we can call it as a data members. Sorry. So so inside a customer class, I declared data members. Now I want to generate setters and getters of this class. So let's generate setters and getters of this class just by right clicking on the customer.java class file. Go to source tab, click on generate getters and setters. Select customer ID, customer name, and customer status, all these data members, and click on generate. See, all the setters and getters methods got generated automatically. So after every ending curling bracket, just press enter so it's clear to you. After every ending curling bracket. Public void set customer ID, integer customer ID. This dot customer ID is equal to customer ID local variable. So for customer ID, setter and getter method got populated. See, setter and getter method got populated For customer name also, setter and getter method has been populated, customer name. Similarly, for customer status also, get customer status, set customer status. All these values got populated. Okay. So this concept, we can call it as a encapsulation. The wrapping of data members and member functions together, we can call it as a member functions means methods. Together, we can call it as a encapsulation. The data members of a class and the data members and member functions together as a single unit is called encapsulation. See, that is the definition I mentioned. So by generating getters and setters methods of a class, we can initialize the object value securely is known as encapsulation. So the wrapping of data and functions together single unit is known as encapsulation. Now let's do one more example. I want to create a policy class. A policy class, and I'm clicking on finish. Let's declare private integer policy ID, private string policy holder name, comma policy holder status. Now I want to generate setters and getters of this class. So this section we can call it as a data members. Now we want to generate member functions. Member functions. So generating member functions means generating setters and getters. Generating setters and getter methods. Well, let's generate setters and getters. So right click, go to source tab, click on generate and getters and setters. Select policyholder name, policyholder status, policyholder ID. Click on generate. See, member functions got generated. So after every ending curling bracket, just press enter. So it's clear for us. Keep this comment line on top. So we generated setters and getters method. So set policy ID, get policy ID. Set policyholder name, get policyholder name. Set policyholder status and get policyholder status. So like that, we have achieved encapsulation. Now let's go into the how to use these examples in a practical example. So I'm going to create test example Java class file, test example, and I'm creating public static void main. And I'm clicking on finish. So test example public static void main. Okay. So what is the, we have created customer. Let's create an object for customer. Customer C1 is equal to new customer of, right? C1 dot first setter method, set customer ID 1000. C1 dot set customer name Ravi. C1 dot set customer status active. Okay. So customer ID, right? Integer customer ID is equal to C1 dot get customer ID. Integer, not integer, it's a customer name, right? String customer name is equal to C1 dot get customer name string customer status is equal to C1 dot get customer status. So here I have created an object name as C1. Customer C1 is equal to new customer of C1. We can call it as an object. So C1 object having customer ID, customer name, and customer status. So customer ID value is 1000, customer name is Ravi, customer status is active. So, and I want to get those values into local variables. Integer customer ID is equal to C1 dot get customer ID, C1 dot get customer name, string customer status is equal to C1 dot get customer status. Now let's print all these values. System dot out dot println customer ID. So second one is customer name. Last one is customer status. So let's save this program. Now set customer. Here it is showing some error. Just a minute, guys. C1 dot set customer ID. C1 dot set customer name. C1 dot set customer status active. Now I want to get those values. So for C1 object, get customer ID. The next one is get customer name. C1 dot get customer name. Next, C1 dot get customer status. Right, guys. So now I am printing all those values. So let's save this program. So 1 second again, why it is showing errors? Change to set customer name. Add cast C1. Change to set customer name. 1 second, guys. The method set customer string undefined for the test customer. 1 second, guys. Let me go to the customer.java class file. So here this file was not saved. Just click on save. Now let's come back to here. So now all the errors gone. So the customer.java file, all the setters and getters methods was saved now. So now I am able to access those methods here properly. Customer C1 is equal to new customer of. So I have declared an object C1. So for this object, I have initialized values, customer ID, customer name, customer status. So C1 object values initialized customer ID, customer name, and customer status. By using setters methods, I initialized C1 object values. And by using getters methods, I'm able to retrieve the input values. C1 dot get customer ID, C1 dot get customer name, C1 dot get customer status. And I'm printing those values. So let's run this program and we will see test example run as test in Java application because public static void main. See customer ID. So this all information is C1 object. Suppose if I want to create one more object, I can create it. So control C. So let's give one more object name as C2. So for C2 object also, we can create setters and getters. So let's give C2. So for C2 object, I'm initializing customer ID, customer name Kiran, customer status pending, and customer ID 1, customer name 1, customer status 1, local variables, and C2 dot get customer ID, C2 dot get customer name, C2 dot get customer status. Now if I want to print these values, so again I can take system.out.println and I can print it. So here customer ID 1, customer name 1, customer status 1. So that's it. So before printing, I want to print some dash system.out.println. I want to print a line. So after printing this line, these values will be printed. Okay. So now let's go to here. Okay. Now let's execute test example program. So now we are having two objects. One is customer C1 and customer C2. So customer C1 having customer ID, customer name, customer status values. Similarly, customer C2 having values customer ID, customer name, and customer status. So the wrapping up of data and member functions into a single unit. Single unit means this object. So the wrapping of data and member functions. Member functions means methods, setters and getters into a single unit is known as encapsulation. So in this test example, we are able to set the values and we are able to retrieve the values by using getter methods. And let's run this program now. Run as Java application. See, so these are the values got printed. So if we want to separate these values, okay, customer ID, customer name, customer status, these values got printed, right? So this line we want to print it where we want to print. So in the main method, after the uh, after this customer ID, customer name, customer status. Okay, let's run the program now. See, customer ID, C1 object information 1000 Ravi active, customer C2 object 2000 Kiran pending. So like that, we are able to set the values, we are able to get the values by using setters and getters of this class. Okay, so now let's close this example and I'm saving this program. Now let's do one more example. New Java class file, test example 1, and I'm clicking on public static void main and clicking on finish. Right. Now I want to create a policy. So is the policy.java class file saved or not? Yes, it's saved. Policy P1 is equal to new policy. Guys, total Java is just we have to create the object. That's it. And we need to access those methods by using object.method name. అంతకన్నా ఏం లేదు. b1.set policy id triple four fives p1 dot set policy holder name Ravi, p1 dot set policy holder status active. That's it. Similarly, we can also create one more object as P2, policy P2 means another policy holder. So 6666 Kiran status pending. And if I want to get these values, okay, integer policy ID is equal to P1 dot get policy ID. So here I need to set the values for P2, right? Let me change it to P2, right? So get P1 dot get policy ID. So just you can write P1 dot, that's it, get policy ID, string policy holder name, right? Policy holder name, P name, policy holder name, P1 dot get policy holder name. So I'm retrieving values into local variables. String policy holder status. P status is a local variable. P1 dot get policy holder status. That's it. So similarly for P2 values also we can retrieve. Policy ID 1, policy holder name 1, policy holder status 1. Or we can do here 1, 1, 1. And here we can give 2, second customer, right? Policy holder name 2, policy holder status 2. So I want retrieve values for P2. P2 policy holder ID, get policy P2 policy holder name and P2. Okay. Now I want to print the values. System dot out dot println policy ID. Policy ID of P1 plus policy ID 1. This is the so policy holder name 1, policy holder status 1. Control C, Control V. So policy holder name. This one is policy status. So now I want to print P2 values. So policy holder ID of P2, P2, P2. So here policy holder ID 2 contains local variables values. Policy holder name 2, policy holder status 2. So this is the information, P2 information. So before printing second record, just print a line system dot out dot println right. Let me save this program. So test example 1 program is ready. So let's understand this program. So we have created policyholder P1 and we setted policyholder ID, policyholder name, policyholder status. Similarly, we create one more object P2, policyholder ID, policyholder name, policyholder status. And if I want to retrieve those values into local variables means this policy ID 1, policyholder name 1, policyholder status. So by using getters methods, we can retrieve P1 object information. P1 dot get policyholder ID, P1 dot get policyholder name, P1 dot get policyholder status. And if I want to retrieve P2 information, policy ID 2 is equal to P2 dot get policyholder ID, P2 dot get policyholder name, P2 dot get policyholder status. So I'm printing all this information. Policy ID 1, policy name 1, policy status 1, policy ID 2, policy name 2, policy status 2. So I'm printing P1 and P2 object information. So the wrapping of data. So the wrapping of data means this one. The wrapping of data and member functions. Member functions means setters and getters into a single unit. Single unit means P1 object is known as encapsulation. The wrapping of data. Data means this one. The wrapping of data and member functions. Member functions means setters and getters into a single unit P1 object is known as encapsulation. Or we can also define like this. We can declare setters and getters of a class. We can declare setters and getters of a class. And we can initialize the object values. Object means P1. P1 object values. We can initialize the P1 object values is known as encapsulation. See the definition part. By generating setters and getters methods of a class, we can initialize the object values securely is known as encapsulation. The wrapping of data and functions together into a single unit. Single unit means that object name P1 or P2 into a single unit is known as encapsulation. So we can initialize the object value securely is known as encapsulation. So now let's run the program, policy program, run as, one second guys. So test example 2 program, let me open test example 1 program. So this program I want to execute it. See, policyholder P1 active information, policyholder P2 object information got printed. So we understood we can generate setters and getters. We can generate setters and getters of a class, and we can initialize the object values. We can initialize object means P1 and P2. We can initialize the object values securely is known as encapsulation. The wrapping up of data and member functions into a single unit is known as encapsulation. So in the interviews, people will ask where you used encapsulation. While initializing object values, we had used encapsulation. While initializing object values P1 and P2, while initializing the object values, we had used encapsulation. We can generate setters and getters of a class, and we can initialize the object values securely is known as encapsulation. So like this, you need to explain in the interviews. Okay. So policy is a one entity, customer is one entity, address is one entity, organization is one entity, location is one entity. So each entity having of its own data members. Data members means this one. So we can generate setters and getters of a class, and we can initialize the object values. That is known as encapsulation. Hope everyone is clear and how to use that encapsulation, and in the test examples program we had seen, just you have to create object and we have to set the values, and we need to get the values into local variables. That concept we known as encapsulation. That's it guys on the encapsulation part.